Good morning and g'day, mate. Welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, JD, and of course we have Icarus with us. Today's episode, we're going to be tweaking a few things, improving a few things, and making things run a little bit faster. But I need to talk about yesterday's episode. Yesterday's episode, we went and set up all these interstellar towers all the way around us, and they were to do some very important things. They were to basically enable us to ship anything from inside this build to anywhere in the solar system. So, once we had that up and running, I actually streamed over at Twitch. So that is twitch.tv/JDPlays, very, very hard URL to remember. And we went out and we did a little bit of an explore, a little bit of a wander. And I actually did several hours worth of outposting. I think it was about a 6-hour stream overall, and we did some things. So, going through the list, we had already visited Snake Games. Snake Games we'd already set up. We went over and visited Lanky, and hopefully editor JD can import some video footage right here. We went and visited Lanky. Now, Lanky had fire ice and optical grating crystal. Had about 350,000 optical grating crystal and a whole pile of fire ice. But fire ice is something we're getting from gas giants or ice giants anyway, so fairly moot point. But yes, went over to Lanky and did some outposting. At the same time, well, after that, we went and this is in no particular order, we went over to Coffee Capone. Coffee Capone had on number... Oh, I don't have the number. It had one of the new planet types, a Sakura Ocean, yes. And on that one, it had 1.5 million organic crystals and about 500,000 spiniform, okay? So again, great planet, visited, went outpost, the whole thing. There's obviously a lot more resources in a lot of these stars, but that was the main one I wanted to hit up. From there, we went on to... Magna was actually a very, very good system for us, for a number of reasons. First off, we went to Magna number 2, which was a lava planet. We've seen lava planets before. That one had 2.2 million kimberlite ore, so lots of kimberlite ore, and about 4.8 fractal silicon. Heaps of fractal silicon. We're good on fractal silicon for a while. After that, we went over to Magna number 3. Magna number 3, which had another 1.7 million kimberlite ore, and we finally got a decent supply of optical grating crystal at 1.1 million. On top of that, this is another one of the new planet types. It's a hurricane stone forest. It looks really, really good from map view when you're flying up to it, and then you land on it, and... Is disappointed the right answer? I'm going to go with disappointed. I was very, very, very disappointed with what we found when we landed. And then we went over to Magna 5. Magna 5 orbiting around the ice giant, which we also tapped at the same time. The Magna 5 is a scarlet ice lake, which... honestly, for all the different planet types we've seen so far, has been my favorite type. Okay, it's my favorite of the new batch. It looks really, really, really cool. And on that one, we found more fire ice. We have so much fire ice. And we found 10 million kimberlite ore. So, plenty and plenty of rare resources. At the same time, I noticed whilst we're here, Magna Prime, being the sun, has a lot of resources. It also has a fairly large radius sun, and it's a type O star, so it has a very high luminosity at 2.4. So it's actually a prime candidate to go and do a future exploration to and set up a Dyson Sphere. So we need to keep that in mind for later. We also visited 32 Leporis. So actually I should mention, first off, big thank you to everybody who's come over and recently become YouTube members. I thank you guys so much for the support. We named in a 6-hour stream of outposting, I managed to name 3 stars. And I have to think, well, Lanky, obviously, Coffee Capone, and Magna, who all supported during my stream. They all went over to YouTube and became a member on YouTube whilst I was streaming on Twitch, which of course we got notifications and all sorts of things, and I could let each one of them pick their stars. At the same time, we had Matrico and also Langston. Langston also supported during the stream, and unfortunately I haven't had a chance to name a star for them yet, but they will get the next couple of stars. We went and visited Capella, hoping to find organic grading crystals, and basically this was a washout. It was a really, really bad planet. The optical grading crystals was like 100 and something thousand. It just wasn't even worth tapping. And we also went to the 32 Leporis looking for Spiniform, and we found out it has a water world. So one of these planets, it's a lava planet, a desert planet, water world planet. One of the planets is a water world, so we need to go back out there at some stage and go and get Spiniform off it, because Spiniform shows up in very, very high concentrations on water worlds. I have a feeling there's going to be like 10 million here, so we need to come out and do that at some stage. Wow, that planet has a very, very large inclination. Actually, all the planets have some pretty severe inclinations. Okay, so that's what happened during the live stream. We have outposted and outposted and outposted. We have plenty of raw resources. And Capella can be... we've visited it, so maybe we should save it. No, we're going to unmark it. Okay, so that's where we're up to. Also, CAF. I can't remember. I think we went out to CAF. I'm not sure. Actually, I'd already been to CAF. So I'll obviously name one of the CAF after one of the supporters, but we will worry about that in the next episode. For right now, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about our little workshop. So, as you can see, it's done a fine job. In fact, we have like a lot of these towers are absolutely full. We have plenty of like, you know, marked. Actually, let's just uncap that. We have plenty of Mark III belts. We have plenty of sorters. We have plenty of assemblers. We have most things have been running fine. We're a little bit short on gas collectors. Obviously, interstellar logistics towers and normal logistics towers. They need some improvement. And one of the reasons they need improvement is we just don't get a lot of basic resources in. On top of that, we have had a number of mines just run dry. In fact, the whole, over the back here, the whole build we had for these stupid supermagnetic rings is now all being fed by towers because, well, all the ore patches disappeared. In fact, if we look at this planet, we're down to 350,000 iron and 200,000 silicon. It's not doing terribly well. In fact, the whole... where are we? Western, which we... Westhusen. We are mining from that fairly heavily. And as for our smelter planet, well, it hasn't been renamed yet. I still have to do that. Yes, I know. It's also almost out of copper ore. We're doing a fairly good job of mining our planets. But all that besides the point, today's episode, I want to do... I want to set up a bunch of automation, okay? A bunch of automation for some very simple things. That's like gears and circuits and actually processors because, so research-wise, that's something else I needed to mention. We finished off the mech upgrades. We finished off basically all the technology upgrades we could. Technologies-wise, we have unlocked the vertical launching silo, so now we can start planning Dyson Spheres. And I want to work my way down towards, well... mini suns, because mini suns going to be something fun we want to play with, and actually, whilst I think about it, we also need to set up automation for the vertical launching silo. So, vertical launching silo is going to be that one. In fact, it's already set up. I just need to say local storage. I don't need 300. We're going to go with 100. And 100. And 100. Oh. 100 and 100. Okay. That'll give us vertical launching silos, which is going to be very important because probably not this episode, probably the next episode, we need to start looking at setting up... I don't have belt on me. That's okay. We can now reach around the planet and grab belt. I'd like 1,000, please. Yes. Okay. We need to look at in the not too distant future at start launching rockets. A few rockets, like a lot of rockets. Like copy and paste that. They're rockets. And run that belt out into there. You need 4 items. That's actually really easy. So 1. What? Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. You're gonna be nothing. We'll set you up something new when we get that far. Okay. So that's up and running. Actually, I need to grab assemblers. A lot of assemblers. Because I'm still using assembler 1s until we get power, like, dialed right the way in. I want to make sure that power is going to be a non-issue before I start mass upgrading things to assembler Mark 3s. Okay. Can I also grab... Yeah, we'll grab all 500 of those, and we'll grab 1900 belt. That should keep us busy for a while. Okay. So, over here, I've started the prep work. We have our green science build, which I finally relented and put quantum chips into a tower because the whole build backed up because we stopped doing science because we spent 6 hours outposting. And I have come and set up over here basically what I want to set up in the future. And that is going to make basic materials and put them in a tower. We're going to import plates from our smelting planet, and then over here we're literally just going to start mass producing things. And each one of these I am aiming to set up for a Mark 3 tower. Okay, Mark 3 assemblers. So we are planning on using upgrade facilities, belts, that one. Yes, planning on using Mark 3 belts everywhere. That's very, very important. At the same time, we're going to be using Mark 3 sorters, which these are already set up for. And yes, I want to plan for the future where we can start using Mark 3 assemblers. So to go through some of the basics. So we want to make gears, okay? And at the moment, a belt moves 30 items per second, okay? So gears take 1 second to make. Now, with gears taking 1 second to make, if I have 30 assembler machines running at a speed of 1, then therefore logic says that, you know, I'm going to use a whole belt's worth. Except our assembly machines, the Mark 1s, run at a 0.75 speed. So it actually means rather than needing 30 assembly machines, I need 40 assembly machines. But we're planning to do everything here using, eventually upgrading to a Mark 3 assembly machine, which runs at 1.5 times speed. If it's running at 1.5 times speed, it means if I have 20 assembly machines, they're going to run at 20 assembly machines running at a speed of 1.5 means that they'll actually consume a full belt of iron and convert it into gears after 20 machines. So the plan is to come here and go, okay, we're going to grab the first machine, and if I click and drag as far as possible, that's 15 machines, which is going to be very, very important because we're going to be using that maths over and over and over. First off, I need to extend the belts. That goes that way. That goes that way, and that goes that way, and we also need foundations. Okay, so with that outlined, if I start on the first assembler and I click and drag, that's 15. And then if I grab here and I should be able to put down another 5, that is the maximum amount I need to produce a full line of iron into a full line of gears. Okay, that's the plan, and that's what I want to keep doing over and over. The same thing we need to do with magnetic coils. Now, magnetic coils, the things are slightly different, okay? Because they require 2 coils and 1 piece of copper, okay? So, you know, 2 coils in 1 second, and they're going to give us 2 coils out. Oh, so sorry, two coils plus 1 piece of copper every second to give us 2 magnetic coils out. Again, it's a on the copper. Let's work on the copper. So on the copper side, it's 1 for 1 second, okay? And then gives 2 out. So, again, using the same maths as we just did for the gears, we know we need 20 assembly machines, okay? 20 assembly machines running at a crafting speed of 1.5. 20 multiplied by 1.5 is 30. It means we'd use 30 copper over 20 machines, okay? But on top of that, we'd also use 2 magnetic coils in and two magnets in and 2 magnetic coils out. So to alleviate that, I've run 1 belt of copper and I've run 2 belts of magnetic coils, 2 belts of magnets, and 2 belts of magnetic coils. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to drag this build out to make sure that it's the same number of machines long, but I've run 1 belt of copper, so we can consume 1 belt of copper, and I've run 2 belts of both the magnetic coils for the return and the magnets themselves. So we should be able to run this build and consume 1 belt of copper and produce 2 belts worth of magnetic coils, because we're gonna need a few of them. Now, all the raw materials are coming from our smelting planet, which I'm hoping keeps up. Honestly, that's sort of the point it's at. There is spare smelting capacity there. I just need to fly there and turn it on. So we're building with a hope that things are going to keep up. I fully expect that as this episode continues, especially with me increasing the caps, well, the magnets disappeared already. Yeah, I'm fully expecting things to not keep up overall. We also want to store an infinite amount of all items in there. Okay, so the next one I want to do is going to be circuit boards. Circuit boards, similar story. The recipe says it takes 1 copper in plus 2 iron, and in 1 second gives us 2 circuit boards. Okay, so we're going to work on the copper first. Okay, so after 20 machines. So after 20 machines, we would consume a whole belt's worth of copper. Okay. At the same time, we consume. It ended up being 4 belts. Yeah, it'd be 4 belts of iron. No, 1 belt of iron. 2 belts of iron. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. JD's brain needs a second to catch up. Okay, so circuit boards. After 20 machines, okay, we would have consumed a whole belt of copper. Great, bonus, done, nice and simple. And we'd also would have consumed 2 belts, so twice the amount worth of iron, and then produced 2 belts worth of green circuits. And somebody in their infinite wisdom built everything basically off by a tile and needs to leave an extra tile for output. So we need to rearrange this in just a second. But the plan is to have 1 shared belt worth of copper, 2 belts worth of iron, and then we will... no, that goes that direction. That goes that direction. Okay. Yes, the plan is to have 2 belts of iron, 2 belts of green circuits out, and 1 belt of copper fully consumed between A and B. It's just going to need a little bit of tweaking. Okay, the next one, which we are going to have to move, but I'm going to talk through it first, and then I'm going to have to rip up everything to fix the one above, because we're starting from the South Pole and working our way up. I'm Australian. Everything's a little bit upside down. So yeah, we're starting at the South Pole and working our way up towards the North Pole. This just happened to be the largest area of free land mass, so this is the area chosen. Anyway, next one is going to be processors. Now, well, actually, the next one is down here. It's the processors. Processors are funny. Processors require 2 of the microcrystalline components, plus they require 2 circuit boards over 3 seconds to give us 1 processor. Okay, it's a little bit of a weird recipe. So rather than trying to make a full belt of these things, I'm only trying to make half a belt worth of these things. That's the plan at least. So if I find my mouse pointer, okay. So maths. Okay, so rather than trying to make 30 per second, I'm trying to make 15 per second. Because I'm trying to make 15 per second, and we're using a crafting speed of 1.5. No, my brain... Look, I apologize. It's late on a Saturday night. My brain is obviously fried, and I cannot do ratios. But I can look at my notes that I've written down previously, and I can see that the plan is to put 30 of these machines in a row. 30 of these machines in a row should take us all the way out to about here somewhere. And you might notice we have offset the towers. So we have this tower here. This one's been offset back, and then the next tower's here set up. And that is because you can't put towers too close to one another. So I had to push this one back to get enough room to put it in to then build everything according to plan. Which then I was off by a tile because I missed a belt. Anyway, the plan is to have 30 of these machines. These machines require two things. They require the circuit boards, which would automate just above. I probably may need to add another circuit board build somewhere along the line. Also, they need microcrystalline components. Microcrystalline components, literally, if we check the freaking handcraft menu, we can click on the microcrystalline components and see they only ever go into processors. They don't go anywhere else, which is handy for us. Very, very handy for us. So, because of that, I've actually built the microcrystalline components, which require 2 silicon to every 1 copper. And the plan is that we're going to have 2 belts worth of silicon, 1 belt of copper, keep things simple, produce a full belt's worth of these guys, and again, crafting speed wise, they take 2 seconds from memory. 2 seconds. Okay, so 2 seconds, we already know 20 machines at a crafting speed of 1.5 equals 30 items per second on an output belt. Because these have double the crafting speed, or double the crafting time, we don't need 20 machines, we need 40 machines. So I need to build 40 machines, which obviously are going to need a whole belt's worth of copper, and then 2 belts worth of silicon, because they use 1 copper and 2 silicon, and that's the plan for these guys. And again, same story, I've been lazy, and I'm just feeding 2 belts in, and giving them a sorter on each belt. They can choose which belt they want to take out, and then we're going to run the microcrystalline components straight up here to the end, and then literally loop them back and bring them back down here. Because I need 40 of these guys to feed 20 of these guys. In saying that, we're also going to consume... also consume a whole belt's worth of circuit boards. So, yes, just give me a sec whilst I slide everything down literally a tile. Okay, with that small snafu out of the way, it should be a case of dragging out our processes, which should be, as we already calculated, hang on, I want to say 10, and I just dragged out 20. Yes, just checking my notes, it should be 10 long for a full belt of copper. No, a full belt of iron. So, whoops. 3, 4, 5. That should be 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, okay. And then, same with this, we're going to have another row of 10, which should end there. Which means all those belts become rubbish and irrelevant. Same with that belt and that belt. Now, this does mean that potentially I could put another tower in here and have it also make circuits. That's probably not a bad idea for future JD. So, yeah, future JD problem right there. I'm more than happy to throw him under the bus and give him future things that he has to deal with. Okay, so the next one is the microcrystalline components, which again, we were going to go with 15. So we're not basing this on the microcrystalline components. We're basing this upon the circuit board, the processors themselves. So this should, in theory, be 40 machines. Now, I don't think I'm going to fit 40 machines because that's a row of 15. That's a Union landfill. That's a Union Foundations jetty. Okay, that's another, well, that's as far as I can drag. So that's another 15. So it's going to give us 30 machines out of the 40 that we were aiming for. Now I could probably jiggle up some belts and give myself some more room to put them down. But honestly, I'm not worried. I'm hoping that this is going to be enough production for right now. We just need to apply many power poles. What is it? It's a 2 gap. Yeah. So 1, 2 there, 1, 2 there, 1, 2 there. Sorry, there and there and there. I really wish power poles were draggable. I don't see why the devs didn't set it up, but yeah, they didn't. So, if we only got 3/4 of the amount of machines that we wanted, rather than having 30 processor machines, we need 3/4, well, 3/4 of that number, which is going to be like 22? Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go with 8. It's going to be a little bit too much, but that should be fine. And then unfortunately these machines are way too close to one another, so I can't actually build power poles. But I have been planning ahead, and you may notice, we'll probably have to walk all the way around here for you to notice. Now we're on a beach. It's hard to see. Okay, you may notice we have a grid shift line here. So here, between this grid and this grid, you notice that the lines don't quite match up. We also have another one right here between our the end of the processor build and the start of the next build. And those grid shift areas I've been reserving to put power poles on. Because they just simplify my life. If I don't build over them, we don't have a problem, and it's a good spot to put power poles to power up the next build. But that should provide us, even more so if I do that, and that, that should provide us plenty of processors and hopefully, uncap that one as well, and hopefully plenty of circuit boards. So the next really big one we need to work out is going to be electric motors. So electric motors are... if we remember back to previous episodes, they require iron with a touch of copper for the magnetic rings. Now, I don't really need electric motors, okay? If we click on this in the freaking handcrafting menu, we can see that they go into sorters. Sorters over here in our build. Where is our build? Where is our build? Blue sides. It's right there. Okay, we have our own dedicated little engine machine right here that makes engines for our Mark II sorters. So we don't use them for that. We also need them for water pumps. I have an automated water pump, so I don't need them for that either. The only place they go into is electromagnetic turbines, and that thing goes into, well, particle containers and reinforced thrusters and the Mark III sorters, and along with the Mark II belt. So it goes into everything. So what I really care about is I care about automating this product, not this product. This product is just a step along the way. The catch is I need 2 normal motors for every single electromagnetic turbine. So what we want to do is we want to come over here, and this is the meat of this episode. I want to make a build that makes electromagnetic turbines. I don't need to make engines. I don't, and same with the microcrystalline components. I don't need to make microcrystalline components and put them in a tower to then ship them elsewhere. I just need to make them to feed them into the very next build. And as you can see, we now have plenty of processors. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Did you have a charging issue? Power off. Cannot charge. Oh. Wow. I apologize. I may have rearranged things and you might have lost power. But you're fine now. Okay, so what we want to do is, yes, we want to make electromagnetic turbines. So to make electromagnetic turbines, oh, sorry, mouse has moved. So we can see these take 2 seconds, and they need 2 engines. And okay, so they take 2 seconds. Because they take 2 seconds, we know that if I have 20 items being fed from a belt of 20 assemblers, being the Mark III assemblers, off a belt of 30 items per second, then I'm going to use a full belt's worth, okay? But because we're using... Because the item takes 2 seconds, in theory I'd have to have 40 machines, but then because it takes 2 seconds as well, and requires 2 of the motors and 2 of the magnetic coils, I then need 2 of each belts of those 2 materials. So to simplify things, we're going to make a half a belt of electromagnetic turbines, okay? So I now need one belt of magnetic coils and one belt of engines, and then we're gonna double the whole build after the fact, probably, to get to a full belt of the magnetic turbines. I hope that makes sense. So, to do this as a step-by-step process, where is an assembly? Okay, so we need, we've done this previously, we need one gear for every 2 of the electric motor machines. So if we bring this up, we can see it takes 2 seconds. It needs 1 gear, plus it needs 2 lots of iron and 1 magnetic coil. The magnetic coils, don't forget, we have up here. Same with the gears. Okay, so they're going to be flying from this tower to this tower. And in theory, we have at least 2 belts worth of magnetic coils already. We're probably going to stress and break this system, and we're probably going to have to duplicate it with a few more. Really? Do I have really 3 things without power? Oh, you frustrate me. I'm sort of glad I noticed. Otherwise, it would have never been fixed. Okay. Alright, so, yes. I'm sort of going to max out that tower. We're probably going to have to build a booster tower. Yeah, a second tower with that second build. But that's fine. Later, JD can do that as well. So, for every one of these is going to require 2 of these, is going to require 1 of those. Okay, so this is going to be sort of our starting block combination. Now, I could do things with direct insertion, but life gets messy, and in fact, I don't have to make gears. So we're... no, I don't have to make gears. Do I want to make gears? No. We're going to import gears. Importing gears is going to be easier. Okay, so we're going to import gears. So I just need to make these to make one of these, okay? So we're going to start with belts. We're going to output iron. Obviously, I copied and pasted the tower. Are you full of junk? You are full of junk. Lots of full of junk. Can you have all of that? Okay, whatever. Later JD can deal with that problem. Cool. Alright, that'll do us. So we're going to have to import iron. Now, this is as close as I can get this tower to the next tower. Is that too close? I don't know, because I do somewhat limit my output options for belts, but we're going to hope that it's okay. Alright, so we're going to have, first off, one of these guys, okay? One of these guys is going to require, every 2 seconds, it's going to require 2 bits of iron plus 1 gear. So we need to work out how to get gears into you. Alright, so we're going to need another belt, which shall be number 2, which shall have gears on it. We're going to set you to be gears, because it always helps when you can see what's on the belts and what you're doing. I'm going to set it just for 100. Local demand. So gears are going to get flown across. At the same time, I want to set you to iron. We want that to be like 100 as well. Not much. We just want to see what's on the belt. So we are going to need... to make half a belt worth of these being 20 machines, we're going to need 40 of these machines. Okay, that's going to get very tight very quickly. Then we also need magnetic coils, except you're going to need a belt of magnetic coils, and you're also going to need a belt of magnetic coils. Okay, so in that case, let's do magnetic coils next. Output number 3, which will drag that way. We'll set up magnetic coils right there. 100 local demand. And then we're going to put that building in. Then, after we've done that, we're going to have an output belt. So, sorters. Now, because we're using the Mark III sorters, they move fast enough and they move enough material per second that we basically don't care which is on which belt and which requires the highest throughput and the lowest throughput, because it just doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so for every 2 of those machines, I need 1 of these machines. One of these machines is going to need to get these, plus it's going to need magnetic coils again. So let's bring out magnetic coils, and I'm thinking we should be able to do this, Then put one of these there. Because this is looped around, this machine making magnetic turbines has access to every single piece of magnetic coil that's on the engine that's on the belt from every single machine. It just simplifies the automation, I guess. And then we go there. Otherwise, I'd have to put one of these after every 2 machines. So it has enough. We could do direct... No, I don't want to do direct insertion. Okay. That should be your output. That goes into there. Now, first question is, how many output slots do we use? We used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this tower. And so I could use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, technically, we could do a second build. We could do a second build. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a cut right about here somewhere. And I'm going to build this out. So we're going to build 40 machines, if they'll fit, doing the engines. And then, in theory, 20 machines doing the electromagnetic turbines. And then this tower should be done. Should be done. Alright, so as we can see, we now definitely have engines running. We definitely can now increase that, increase that, increase that, and that's already maxed out. We're going to set that to storage so they don't ship off intergalactically. And then, you know, after everything arrives, this build should be good to go. Helps if I actually put shippy ships in it. Blue science is there, which means that's the one I want. I want like 100. Yeah, 100 of those plus a whole stack of those. And drop them in there, drop them in there. Now, these towers don't have warpers. They're not going to require warpers because at the end of the day, they're going to get all their bars in from our very, very local smelting planet. So they don't need warpers to get things in from long distance. They literally just need to be able to bring in the local bars and then make the local materials. At the same time, it also means that between episodes, I can go back over here and we can make sure like we're definitely shipping in these things. I need to automate so much more. So we're going to have to automate, well, supermagnetic rings and particle containers and what else do we require? Technically, when that research finishes in like 2 seconds, we're also going to require whatever we need to make artificial stars. Being... Thanks. Out of my way. Frame material. So we still have a bunch of things that we need to automate, and that's going to be a lot of this week's content. It's going to be setting up automation this style with a tower, being able to bring in any raw materials and then do some processing on site, put it back into a tower, ready to ship off to whatever the next step is. So, with all that said, this is where I'm going to leave this episode. I am going to double this build, essentially, because I want to make twice as many electromagnetic turbines as we're making currently, because they need to go into 2 important products. One is going to be the particle containers, and the other one, which it doesn't tell you because it only shows 4 things, which is a little bit frustrating, is the supermagnetic rings. They also require the electromagnetic turbines, and they require a lot of them, and we need a decent amount of these to make... it doesn't show us once again. Very, very important thing. Belts. belts. I'm going to need a lot of those. So yes, with all that said, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. All right, bye.